Hi, guys. I hope you had a great fall break. I'm happy to be back here with you today. Um, we're going to be starting today with, we're going to just revisit some of our procedures for the class. So, all of the little things that you have to do in my class that are different from your other classes, we're going to talk about all of those things. I'm also going to change a couple procedures. So, make sure you're paying close attention because this is all going to be really important. First of all, though, I want to say that for today, instead of taking notes over this video, you're not going to take notes on this video. You're going to work on your practice assignment to answer the questions. Um, all of the answers will be in the video. So the practice assignment you should have gotten looks like this. It says revisiting procedures practice. And I tried to put all the questions in the same order that I'm doing them in the video. So you should be able to go in order to answer them. Here we go. All right. So, first of all, I'm giving you a composition book. So, your composition book is going to be where you take notes and you're going to do a Bellwork journal in it. So, you're totally fine to keep your folder for any paper assignments that you wish to keep. It's not required though any longer. I know I made a big deal about folders, but I don't really like the way it's working to keep all of your notes in there. I find it kind of cumbersome. So this will be an easier way to keep track of all your notes and keep them in order. Um, so right now in Sharpie on the front, I want you to write your first and last name, write English 3, write your time block. So time block 1, time block 2, whichever time block you're in. So I want you to pause the video right now and do that. I should be coming around with Sharpies pretty soon. So in your composition book, the first half of it is going to be for bell work. So a bell work journal where sometimes there's going to be some writing prompts that you will write some stuff about. Sometimes it might be something different that we do. But so that's for the front half of your notebook. The second half of your notebook is going to be where you keep all your class notes. So every video after this video, that's where you're going to keep your class notes. Whoa. Okay. So, setting up your notebook, I want you to go to the very first page in your notebook and just title it right at the top, Bellwork Journal. Bellwork Journal. You don't have to put those quotation marks. That's just for me. Then I want you to write the date on the left margin. So the left side, you're going to write the date. Today is 10/19/21. And then I want you to answer the following questions in complete sentences in paragraph form. So this is your first Bellwork journal that you're going to do. And I just want you to take a few minutes and do this right now. So I want you to answer in a paragraph, leaving quarter one behind, how do you feel like you're doing in this class? Then answer, what goals can you set for yourself for this quarter? So, we just ended quarter one. That's the first 9 weeks of school. And after fall break, we're on to the second 9 weeks of school. So, the last part of the first semester. So, what goals can you set for yourself this quarter? It could be something like that you want to make sure that you get through all of the unit, like every lesson in the units. Could be made to make sure that you don't miss too much school. There's lots of different goals you could set for yourself. And then finally, what can you do to achieve these goals? So I want you to take about 5 minutes. You can just pause the video and I want you to just write your response in a few sentences, and they should be complete sentences. Make sure you're paying attention to your capitalization, your punctuation, periods, commas, etc. Okay, so you should be finished with your journal now, your journal. But so each day when you enter the classroom, this is what you're going to do. So when you enter the classroom, you're going to grab your notebook. You can keep your notebook in the same place where you kept your folder before, in that same bin. And then I want you to look at the front of the classroom at the interactive board and follow the instructions on the board. If there's a writing question on the board, you're going to write your response in the Bellwork Journal section of your notebook. So each new day, if you still have room on the same piece of paper, just put the date in the margin like you did today, and just write right underneath it. So you would just write 10, 20, 21, and then write your response to whatever the question is. So, like I said, for each new entry, you're going to write the date in the margin, and you don't have to you can write on the front and back of pages. I want you to, use up all of the paper. Don't just be writing one sentence on each piece of paper. Okay, the notes part of your notebook is going to be in the second half of your notebook. So if you just open your notebook right in the middle, right where it opens up, that's where you're going to start your notes section. So for each new unit, you're going to glue your objective sheet / checklist at the beginning of the notes for that unit. And that's going to be where you can go check things off. Once you finish your notes for lesson 1, you'll check off that you did that. And then once you finish the practice assignment for lesson 1, you'll check off that you did that. So that's going to be the main place that you're going to see where you're at for each day and what you need to work on. And also, you've seen those objective sheets before, but they have all of the little times that we might be doing something where it's not a self-paced day. We might be doing something separate that day, or if there's like a deadline you need to look for. So that is going to be the main piece of paper. It's going to be glued into your notebook, and you should be able to find it and know what we're doing each day. So when you watch a new instructional video, you're just going to add the notes on a new sheet in your notebook right behind your objective sheet. So like it's going to be objective sheet first, then like notes for lesson 1, then notes for lesson 2, notes for lesson 3, and then if a new objective sheet comes, if you're done with that unit, it'll go right on to the next objective sheet. Okay. Here's a few reminders about how my classroom works. Remember, way back at the beginning of the year, I explained how I'm doing a modern classroom. So this is a reminder. Most of you know this. But each lesson includes 3 parts, and these 3 parts are really important. So you must complete each part before moving on to the next one. So you can't take notes on lesson 1 and then skip the practice and the mastery check and take notes on lesson 2. You need to do each one in order. So the first part is the video lesson. That's the only time when your Chromebook should ever be open, unless otherwise stated. Some lessons I might include a thing where you're typing, but most of the time, the only time your Chromebook should be open is if you're taking notes. The second part is the practice. So that's the assignment, and that should be like the biggest part of what you're doing in class. And that's a time when you are going to work with your group to complete it. So you're gonna all be in group seating, and you should be sitting with people who are working on the same thing that you're working on. So you're going to work on this all together. And then finally, there's the mastery check. That's the thing that you do independently, all on your own, and you have to make an 80% or more to move on to the next lesson. Oops, I have to clear that. Pin, clear, back. Okay. Now a little more information about the video and practice. Just a little bit more information about what I want you guys to do. So when you're watching your video lessons, you are free to do that with your group or on your own. That's really up to you. You are going to be sitting with a group. Some people I know go a little quicker or a little slower than others. So if you don't like to do it as a whole group, you don't have to. But I've seen in some of my classes, when people work together, they really are understanding it better. So feel free to watch the video together and take notes together. When you're watching the video, you need to make sure you're taking really good notes over each of the concepts in the video. But do not write everything down. think about what I'm talking about and what is on the screen. Make sure you're listening to what I'm saying, because you only really want to write down the most important information. So that's for the video. That's all about the video. The practice assignments. You need to work with your group on your practice assignments. This is really important. Some of these assignments you need to read together. You should be reading the text together and trying to figure out the answers together. Okay? It is the expectation in this class that you are working together to understand reading assignments and writing assignments. Really, before you come to ask me a question, I want to make sure that you've talked to everyone in your group and no one understands it. The whole group needs to be confused before you're coming to ask me. Okay. So getting to this, the seating in class is going to be a little different each day, maybe, because you're going to be grouped with people who are working on the same part of the lesson as you. So you should only be sitting around people who are on the same exact part. So if you're still working on notes, you need to be with other people who are doing notes. If you're on to the practice part, you're going to be working on the practice part with a group that's all doing that. So I know that's a little cumbersome, but that's why it's really important that you check in with me and I know what you're working on, because I will put on the board each day what group you should be sitting in and where you should be sitting. So each day that you come in, check the board for where you should be. Okay? The very front table, you'll notice that I moved the room around a little. The very front table is going to be where I'm going to be some of the time, and I will call people up to conference with me. So it could be if you didn't understand something on a practice and you need some help, or if you need to revise a mastery check, I might call you up and do a little teaching with you. Okay, this has been a serious problem in this class. I know it's a big deal trying to be able to be in charge of your own learning. And it's very easy to look at your phone and think about other stuff. Phones have been a big distraction for a lot of people. So, how can we mitigate this? Remember, you can only have your phone out if you are on pace, right? That means that you have finished what needs to be finished for that day. You can't just have your phone out willy-nilly all the time. Also, there's going to be days where we're doing whole group instruction, and you can't have your phone out when I am doing instruction. So, if you're behind pace, I'm going to ask you to put your phone away. If it's too much of a distraction for you, if you can't handle putting it away, if you can't handle, if you wanted to turn it into me, you could turn it into me. We will have a conference about it, you and I together. We can involve your parents if we need to, or we can make an agreement where you can check your phone with me at the beginning of class. But if it's going to continue to be a distraction, which it's not everyone, but there's some people who just can't seem to ever get anything done because they're always looking at their phone. So we will be covering that. All right, that is it for today. So make sure, if you need to, go back and watch some of the video again, or go back and look at some of the slides again, and you will be able to answer all of the questions on that practice assignment. So again, the practice assignment is where you're answering all the questions on this. So when you're done with this practice assignment, you're going to turn it into Miss Swigert, to me, and I will check it for you and then see if you're ready for the mastery check. Okay, bye. Hope you have a great day.